Welcome back. Today is the day we talk about the fire geometry, which is the geometry of the merkabah. I spoke about yesterday about there being essentially there's an issue with the timing belt. So we need to get Scotty in engineering, to sort it out, giving it all she's got, Captain. But if you're just in engineering, you're not a captain, are you? So that's what we're dealing with today. Is got many aspects to do with more things in relation to time theft, land theft, things which I discussed yesterday deeply. Today is, what's this day number today? It is 35? Yeah, it's day 35 now. And this is card number 48, which is Solar 9. Fire Geometry. Tenochtitlan, 19.5 degrees, 19.47. 2 decimal places. Nestled between volcanic mountains is an ancient city buried beneath a modern metropolis. The capital of the Aztecs lays on the merkabah point of the planetary geometries, or 19.5 degrees north. Further northeast is Teotihuacan at 19.7. The New Year solar zenith at this latitude occurs 33 days after summer solstice, aligning with their version of the 13-month matrix. Go to Galactic 13. We're not there yet. For a blend of zenith and solstice equinox systems as a unified continuum, go to Galactic 11. So we're getting a bit more galactic codes coming in now. Yeah, maybe some galactic code's gonna help to get the merkabah spin right. Get things sorted out from a galactic perspective. So here's this card. So that's this geometry here. So this is the geometry of the solar zenith at a different latitude. And yesterday I was talking about the origins of the long count, which is very important to get right. If we're going to honour the ancestors of the planet, which is important, if we're going to actually sort out the future. But this shape is a fascinating symbol. Today also connects, not specifically, but indirectly, due to the fact that this geometry relates to volcanic activity, because it's the fire geometry. And that relates in another episode later with the tower. Okay? The numbers match with the tower, which I see as a more artistic expression of human creation, which is a tower exploding, but it's got the same energy, it's got a... Okay? Yeah. So this problem with the time theft and the land theft, and what happens when you have two opposing forces, I mean, it'd be very convenient if there was only ever one powerful group that always win. But the thing about competitive mindsets is usually that leads to there being multiple groups who also want to be in charge. So what happens is there ends up being two groups. Yeah? And this is something which occurred in the previous century. You know, I talked about groupthink and consent. Now, this is the geometry of the merkabah, and 19.47 degrees is the north and south latitude of the points on the Earth. So that number, 19.47. This 19.47 degrees is where this point, which marks the position of the ancient capital of the Aztec Empire, which was, you know, many generations down from Mayans and Olmecs, going all the way back. Yeah. Now, this geometry can also be shown like this. And this is it in 2D. Now, I've gone into the cube and talked about 3D. 2D, this is sometimes called the Star of David. Okay. Two triangles. Okay. Now this connects to a particular place on the Earth, which was founded in 1947. Okay? So I'll bring this one back. The angle of the merkabah is 19.47. Okay? We're talking about land theft and time theft. We're also talking about numbers, frequency, okay? Resonance. And it's the same archetypes playing out, isn't it? We go back to talking about Middle East. Yeah. Well, that's the year that the trouble started properly again in the land where there's both Hebrew and Arabic peoples, and have been for thousands of years. And there's coins. You can find coins that show the language on both sides of the coin before 1947. Again, 1947. 1947. So the merkabah, okay, this is about the liberation of all beings. Yeah. So, you know, might need to do something about that Balfour Declaration in this country, yeah, because you see, that makes the United Kingdom complicit. In fact, essentially that's a knock-on effect of the doctrine of discovery, which I was speaking about before. Okay, because when things are done without other people's consent, yeah, that's the problem. It's a part of the programming that is an issue. It's a big issue. And as you can see, it's a fascinating, complex issue too. Because we're talking about things which are usually termed occult. Yeah, they're usually termed occult, which is to say hidden, which is fascinating, which is how people usually relate to things which they haven't come across before, is they kind of like, ooh, what's that? That's something I'm not familiar with. So these things we're no longer familiar with, we just call that occult now. Well, I'm here to tell you that, might need to do a bit more homework in relation to resonant frequencies for actually going to do the things which we say we want to do as a planet, and not just have conferences and say that we're going to do something, but actually do it as a planet. And that means actually speaking truth to power, because ultimately, in the end, really, okay, there is really no separation. You can't separate it. Yeah. Okay. There's a deep issue here. Yeah, there's a deep issue here, because it's to do with respecting the ancestors of all the lands of the planet. And yeah, I've already broken. I've described the broken merkabah. Now, this is another aspect of this. Yeah. Because the numbers have a resonance. And again, this is where that frequency has a natural resonant point on the Earth. In Central America. So, maybe you haven't heard of the Balfour Declaration. I'm not entirely sure whether you've heard of this before. But this was all agreed before any of the outcomes. Decades before. So I really don't understand how this isn't brought up in courts of law, since courts of law should surely relate to when consent hasn't been given. Yeah? Yeah? Or is this not part of the lawmaking of this planet? It's certainly fascinating, because this is what the math says, is this geometry, which is the multi-dimensional version of the Star of David, finds its natural resting place in Central America. That's where it finds it naturally. But instead, the energy has been moved somewhere else. And it's not the complete picture. And there's things going on here still to this day, which is no different than what happened in Central America. So when people say, oh, when are you going to get over the past and the things that were done to people in the past, they want to move on, obviously. And I think to myself, and I'm like, wow, really don't understand, do you? It's hardwired into the programming of our culture, and multiple cultures. Yeah, Europe itself has dozens of cultures. It's a very varied place. It's a funny place, to be perfectly honest, to have a super state. To be perfectly honest. Yeah. Trading's good though. Yeah. And respecting each other's peoples, and respecting the land, respecting nature. Yeah, but the big conglomerates, yeah, It's more of the competing mentalities again. Yeah. Which is the knock-on effect of a competitive, market-orientated society. So I don't see why everybody's surprised when things happen. I'm not surprised. It's a historical cycle repeating. That's the point of these time codes, is to go, hang on a second, you're repeating a historical cycle, which means you're not in full awareness of what's going on. Because if you were in full awareness, you wouldn't keep repeating the same historical cycle. Yeah, you'd learn from the mistakes. Yeah, exactly. So there is an issue there on multiple levels, in multiple lands around the planet. But it still goes back down to a particular mentality. Hardwired into our culture. Male domination. And even some female domination too now, because that's the knock-on effect of having male dominators, is you end up having female dominators too. Yeah. Well, see, the thing about volcanoes, going back to the geometry again, fire geometry, volcanoes, is many cultures have started their big centers of culture near volcanoes, because the thing about volcanoes is the land around volcanoes is usually very fertile. In fact, here in Edinburgh, yeah, very fertile land, and volcanoes, yeah, at one point there were volcanoes. And you see this across the planet. Yeah, big cultural centers near volcanoes. Yeah. So there's something deeper going on here. Yeah. And here, personally, in the last 2 days, some of the hottest days ever for a long time. And these are the 2 days that I'm talking about, the fire geometry activating the merkabah in my own sequence, which I started, what did I say it was? 35 days ago. So, there we go. Yeah. Didn't plan that. That's just how it's happening. So the Gregorian mentality, the dominator mentality, how do you spot a Gregorian? They think they rule the universe. And your universe. That's their whole, that's what they get kicks out of. Yeah. Well, it's a mentality, it's a choice, actually. People don't think it's a choice, but it is actually a choice. There's many different ways of living, many different paths. So to say there isn't a choice there, and to not actually allow for there to be a choice, yeah, that doesn't sound like freedom to me. I respect everyone. As individuals, we all work hard. Yeah? Okay? But on a collective level, the Gregorian is an issue. Okay, so if you're still associating that your hard work is now embedded in the Gregorian, like if you were to change a calendar, somehow you think you'd then be worthless. No, it's just a calendar. Yeah? And it's more important to understand the roots of things. If we're actually going to make any positive changes as a planet, yeah, letting go. I've said it to many people recently, and particularly myself. This is thousands and thousands of pounds or dollars worth of value here. Yeah, when someone says it's a massive lesson in letting go, it's such a liberating thing, actually. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's very much like that fertile land. But it has to be a choice, because you see the difference is 13 moons isn't going to be forced onto anyone. That's the difference. But there's some intense stuff to talk about. And I think if we're going to have world peace and activate the merkabah, we maybe need to clear up a bit more about the origins of which cultures are honouring this, and when, and on what days, and whose calendars who using. Is it being given permission? These things are actually very important. They're at the heart of this work. Don't know about you, but 1947 so that's 53 plus another 20, so that's about 63, 70, 72 years it's been. That's a cosmic day in time, 72 years. So a whole cosmic day has passed. Yeah, can you imagine this? Can you fathom this? Really? 72 years of constant conflict in your homeland that wasn't like this before, the United Kingdom got involved. The Christianized United Kingdom, on behalf of the Pope and the Doctrine and Discovery, decided themselves to give someone else's land to someone else without permission. And you think that's adult behaviour? The whole foundation of actually being an adult is understanding what the word consent means. Yeah. So, 72 years. I think we might need to sort out the timeline. Okay? It's important. I can't do it by myself. So this guitar is actually from very close to what is now Mexico City. While I was there, I went to visit a town that's a specialist of guitar makers, and that's where this guitar is from. Which is really just a hobby to me. I find it very therapeutic. Music has a resonant frequency. Certain things have resonant frequencies. Yeah. Until you change the record, it just keeps on spinning round. On repeat. Now we know and we understand what music is. Do we understand the music of culture? Yeah. You like some kind of music? I like a different kind of music. It's the same with time. Resonant frequencies. Yeah, the time codes need to be liberated, thank you very much. And respected. Thank you very much. Well, I would go deeper into what we're talking about here, but yeah, this stuff is tiring to me. I'm looking forward to when it's all over. And just like the first time I wrote my book, and the second one, and wow, the third one. When they're ready and they're done, I think that's me. I can't actually handle dealing with this information by myself. It's that intense. Why am I doing this work? I had a near-death experience when I was about 12 or 13. All goes back to that. Okay? So. Yeah, well, if we want to heal the broken-hearted merkabah, we're going to have to talk about the things we don't usually talk about as a species. Yeah, and that includes talking about time codes. Yeah, time and space codes. Liberation of all beings. Infinity codes. Take care. May peace prevail on our beloved planet Earth.